Hello everyone, this is World Exposure. Even though that 60% of Americans support the bombings on Libya, a new poll shows us that only 17% of Americans see Barack Obama as a strong and decisive commander-in-chief, while 36% of Americans see him as indecisive and dithering. And as far as his part in the bombings of Libya goes, this poll has actually been proven to be true. The Obama administration doesn't want to call this a war. They're not telling us what their goal is. And many people do not even realize that Great Britain and France has actually done a great amount of the bombings themselves. And most of all, as NATO gets ready to take over the no-fly zone either today or tomorrow, no one even seems to know what America's role will be after that, or what kind of endgame, if any, is being planned. Obama has not even outlined any kind of a plan to Congress as to why we are involved with the bombings, while the Prime Minister of Great Britain actually gave a direct appeal to the Parliament as to why they are involved, outlining the multiple reasons for putting their armed forces in danger. So just what is our goal? I can understand creating the no-fly zone to protect the civilians from their terrorist civilian-killing leader, but what happens after that? Do we remove Muammar Gaddafi from power? 79% of Americans says he must go, and I agree, but if he goes, who takes over? Has the Obama administration taken this question into consideration? I remember the Obama administration being so pleased with the uprising in Egypt that they wanted other nations such as Libya to follow along without even showing any consideration of the possible threats of terrorist organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood taking over. And now there is even evidence that some of the anti-Gaddafi rebel forces are actually jihadists who we fought against in Afghanistan and Iraq. Britain's Daily Telegraph has evidence that a leader of one of the rebel forces went into Afghanistan in 2002 to fight against U.S. troops. He has also recruited 25 Libyan men to fight against us in Iraq. And now we're fighting on the same side as this guy? He was captured in Pakistan and turned over to the U.S., but he was somehow released in 2008. And in a 2007 report by the Combating Terrorism Center at the United States Military Academy in West Point, there are records of 700 foreign terrorists that came to fight against the United States between August 2006 and August 2007. Now the report says that Libya contributed more terrorists per capita than any other nationality in the senior records. These terrorists are believed to be linked to the Libyan Islamic fighting group, who has become more and more close in the relationship with al-Qaeda. The reports also say that this leader of one of the anti-Gaddafi rebel forces was actually a member of the Libyan Islamic fighting group, and that his Libyan hometown provided more terrorists to Iraq than any other city. Now the reports also say that one of the Libyan cities that is actually now a rebel stronghold fighting against Gaddafi also had many terrorists sent to Iraq to kill U.S. troops. But of course the Obama administration won't even want to call these people terrorists. So should Gaddafi be removed from power? Of course he should. But why now with our help? The Obama administration needs to provide this answer. Gaddafi has been killing civilians for decades. The Obama administration needs to let us know what their objective is. We had a US F-15 Strike Eagle crash in Libya where 2 pilots were luckily returned to US forces by rebel fighters. But what if they had fallen to the wrong hands? You see, there are troops risking their lives out there fighting, and not only does the Obama administration not want to acknowledge it as a war, but they also don't want to acknowledge that some of the people we are fighting for as terrorists. The Obama administration doesn't even want to acknowledge that we already have troops on the ground out there risking their lives. They say it's not going to happen. However, retired Army Colonel David Hunt and Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, who is also a former Army intelligence officer, said in an interview with Bill O'Reilly that they have information that U.S., French, and British special forces are already there to make sure that we are hitting the correct targets. The British service has been there for about 3 weeks now and has even been captured and released. Now yes, I understand that they are there essentially undercover out of uniform to secretly help try to avoid any collateral damage by making sure that we hit our correct targets, but that doesn't mean that the Obama administration has to say that there will definitely never be any troops on the ground there. After all, if our intention is to remove Gaddafi, then wouldn't we need to send ground forces to remove him anyhow like we did with Saddam Hussein?